So hello world, today we're doing something a bit different for a remote stream. It's not so much a remote stream, well it is a remote stream, but it's not the usual remote stream that we're usually doing. So today I'm going to be covering a bit of a project that's been worked on by me and a couple others. What we're working on here is RimVali. I can never pronounce RimVali or RimVali. I never have been able to, but what we're working on here is another Vali mod for Rim mode. Now, obviously there's something very different about this mod. You load the game, if you have Rim themes installed, you'll be able to activate a custom theme. This is all still thing. And as you notice, if I draw your attention to the top right corner, that is Rim mode 1.2. Yes, so now, obviously, we have to look at the Vali themselves. They are a lot different, they're very different from both Jaffers and a Vali Continued Vali, which we'll have to come back to Vali Continued in a moment, because there's something that, basically. And let's see, I'm just doing this real quick. Now, if you're familiar with any of the other Vali mods, you'll definitely have noticed that you'll definitely recognize this icon at least. You'll definitely recognize these icons here. They all either shows the red or there's only one faction. It's probably that there's only one faction. But let's see, so yeah, as you can see here, we have other two Vali mods there. Now, Jaffers Vali is fully compatible with this mod. Like, you can literally just have them both loaded and there will be no errors at all. There's even extra steps taken, which I may pull up in a minute. Just select random site in Tundra here. Okay, I don't really care what it is, just do the thing. But instantly notice, these guys look very, very different from the other Vali mods. And the thing about these guys is, currently as you notice, we have a bunch of test backstories here, you can ignore these. Some of them will be like, they'll have these kinds of traits. So see here, this one is very specific. If you go this one, it's different. And if you go this one, it's the same as the other one. This one is also different, and as you can see, there's also bionic over here. If you go this one, you see they do not like bionic body parts, or they do not like to fight fire, which makes them generally useless. At least, they're really, they're not very strong without their bionics, admittedly, which is somewhat intentional. And yeah. So, now that we've discussed traits, you'll notice that, so they'll actually receive flats if they have bionics are not based on those traits. Now, this is like Transhumanist and Body Pierce, except it's a lot weaker. It's only like a 6 or 7 mood buff or mood debuff at most. But the thing about this is, it's like, let me see here, and just checking some stuff. It's not more likely to be, okay, is that not going away? Okay, there. I want to go away, go away. I want y'all to go away. There. These keybinds aren't working right, it's really annoying. Okay, so that didn't work, but let me go back over traits again then, I guess. Since that was not working. Okay, here as you can see, this trait here, I did not really plan this out. This is just kind of supposed to be a random thing, because I realized something, but I'll get to that later. This right here, this trait, it says it specifies that they'll fight fire and they like bionic body parts, and I'll just show you that in a minute. this is they fear fire, so they won't fight it, as you can see right here. But they also have bionic body parts, and now if we go over to you, I think you were the one that didn't like it. Okay, you like it too, whatever. It's all kind of showing the same. Hi, Neo. Yeah, so now these textures are still being updated, so they look a bit weird right now compared to our, these textures right here. These look very different. So that should be kept in mind. Let's see here. Then, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to real quickly evaluate this tail right here. If they lose their tail, like, let me see here. Where's additive? So what I want to do now is I want to show this thing that was in one of the other value mods. Wait, that's not that I'm looking for cutoff. Or removed. I forget what they keep. Yeah, whatever. Basically, if they lose a body part, there's a thing for that something to wear at. We literally keep moving these around, and it's very annoying. Let's see. Apply damage. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Is it here? They moved all this stuff around, and now I can't find anything. But yeah. If they lose a tail, they will have the tail actually disappear on their pawn. This used to be the same for ears too. Currently it is not, because that was a very buggy system and it was hard to do at the time. Maybe we'll re-add that in the future, I don't know. That'll depend. But now, let's take a quick look at how those bionic thoughts that I was talking about a minute ago. I'm just going to spawn in some things. Let's see, basic. There's something very important to talk about here. And that is, see, these bionics are really important to your early game, because these are what keep your value from getting torn apart by literally anything. And I'm just going to demonstrate this real quick. So here we have, I'm just going to throw this down. Obviously, should probably do this in at least some kind of building, but since I'm just showing it here, obviously it's there. Let's see who's not the doctor. Okay, so you're okay to do this then. As you can see, you will be happy if I give you bionic. So let's do that. Here. Skills then, skill, set skill, medicine, 20, the doctor. There. Now they'll go lay down, they'll go do this, they'll stop. These bionics are very easy to install because these are like the sort of lower tier bionics, as you can see. They do get a small efficiency boost, but at the same time it's not really that great. But if we look here too, we can also see that they have a cybernetic body part thought here. And then now, if we also look at so see if I give them another body part over here. So if I give them, let's see, right arm, as you can see, they'll do this. Now, which one of you was it that didn't care about bionics again? It was one of you, right? Okay, so you both like bionics, or whatever. So there's a couple other variations of this trait, but as you can see now, they get a slightly better mood boost now for having more bionics. Yeah, it might need to be lowered a bit, but it's for testing right now. We'll work on just some things as we go, and where did that come from? I have no clue. Let's just make it go away. I have no clue where that thing came from. So the problem is all my keybinds got messed up by OBS, and now I can't really do what I was intending to do was have the little pop-up there show up when I wanted it to show up, not, do that. That's not as I say, let me talk about that mod real quick though. In terms of compatibility, this mod does not work with RimVali continued, and it will not be supported at all, besides some one patch that will be included as a spare mod. What this catch will do is it'll convert your staves so that if you have any volley continued volley, they'll be turned into these guys. What does the human pond look size? What does the human pond look like size compared to the new textures? Spawn pond, colonists. Let's see here. Alright, they'll look. I also apologize for keyboard clicking. Currently, they're about the same size. I mean, we could just pull one up here and pull one up here. Go here. They're kind of about the same size. I did it so it was easier to see them, because otherwise, I have Camera Plus installed, and even with Camera Plus, it can be hard to see some of those little details that are on there already. At the point where it's like, is it even really worth it? It's like, let me see you over here. Where did you even go? Okay, you went over here. And I'll have you from over here. And you can see, it can be hard to see some of the like details on the female volley. On the male volley, it's not really a problem. Yeah, they are a bit bigger, but yeah. Alright, so now, what I should probably show now is how something, since they be human here, I may as well show it. I'm just saying add h diff. Let's see. There it is. This is a placeholder name because it goes on jaw. Where the heck is jaw? There it is. As you see, it's now options. They'll be immune to this. This is thanks to Mohar hit shifts. I can never pronounce any of these mod names. And now, if you have them attack a human or other race that is not ammonia based, you'll see they'll get what's called ammonium poisoning. This by itself is not that bad actually, but what it can cause is it can cause over time ammonia burns, and those can be painful and may result in not so good things. They probably aren't going to be the cause of death themselves. I don't think. I need someone who actually can, in an actual play environment, to check that though. So let me just unwrap you guys. As you can see, they now have ammonia poisoning initial. This stage is not bad. It's once it gets to moderate. Once it's moderate, that's when you start to have the problems of you can get actual negative effects and whatnot. That's when you start watching for those kinds of effects. Initial will not do too much on its own though. Besides from possibly a little bit of pain. Even then, you don't really think you're in pain, are you? Well, you kind of are. And now, let's see, what else is there? Well, there's materials. Let's discuss this real quick. I'm going to turn on God Node here. Here, you might notice, this is a new type of wall. It's called the 10th wall, and what is this type of weaker wall? It's made of cloth. It's a slightly different texture. If I zoom in here, you can see it's got a little sort of checker pattern. You may have also just noticed something else here. There are a couple of new materials here, specifically the RimVali nanocarbon. So you say pull this up here, and this is like a dark grayish, blackish material. It's not technically black. It's really dark gray. The RimVali Nano Fiber and the RimVali Arrow Weave. Now these are the important clothing, because if you deconstruct this and look at Arrow Weave, it has a very good installation level, and that makes it important for. Now these stats here, they need to be adjusted, but you get the general idea. Now see, all these stats here, these are not going to be the final stats most likely. They're just there to kind of be there. As you can see, they do have a temperature stat here. So if you make clothing, it can help insulate the clothes. It can help insulate your body. Now, with nano fiber, let's see. There's differences here. This, I don't think this is the right one. Having this, I think that's supposed to be this. But as you can see, your mom uses nano fiber. As you can see, it gives you a much better general sort of temperature. So you'll need these materials to go somewhere that's not a freezing cold tundra, basically. RimVali nanocarbon, I don't think you can use this one for clothing if I remember correctly. This one doesn't do too much on its own right now. I mean, as you can see here though, let's see. The type of RimVali fabric stored in neat stackable puffs aerogel, view ferrogel. And this has a lot of other things too. Orange aerogel manufactured by RimVali. Due to the nature of the manufacturing, this specific aerogel has been renamed ferrogel. It has been made in neat stackable puffs for easy storage. Now, if we take a look here, you might be wondering, what's the use of all this we see? Ferrogel. It's a bit better than steel, if I recall correctly. Let me just pull up steel quick. So see, steel has 300, this has 330. So it's a slightly better wall than steel. Let me look around here and see if I can find any of a very specific ore. Because we had one new ore to the game. It's called Tungsten. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. I'm not seeing any, but I'll spawn some in if I can't find it, and I'll explain it. Refined carbon, yeah, that's currently a semi-bug. I mean, it depends on what we want to do, really. It either can be classified as a fabric, or it can't be classified as fabric. But if we classify it as fabric, it becomes temp wall material. So now, let's see here. Okay, there's no tungsten on the map, so it looks like so I'll just spawn some in on the ore. Try place directing. Right, tongue. Now what you want to look for is, if it ever shows up. Okay, so tungsten looks like this stuff. It's going to be this, like, the same color as this metal right here. This is raw tungsten, and what it is this is a favorite metal later in the game. It's used to make some of the more end-gaming materials, and it is also used. Let me see here. Let me just check one more time to make sure there's nothing that I'm missing. Because there always is something that I'm missing. Compacted, yeah, I'm just blind. It's an ore that looks like this. This is tungsten. As you can see, it's somewhat difficult to mine. As you look over here, but that's for good reason. I can promise you that, because you do not want this stuff in your colony early in the game. Now, this raw tungsten by itself is useless, but if you look in our research tab, you'll notice we have a new RimVali tab for research. I'll introduce you to a few new things here, because you'll see you'll need the RimVali research bench. It's all this unlocks. As you can see, this requires the RimVali research bench, and that's how you research your RimVali technologies. As you can see, Nano Forge unlocks RimVali printing nanoforge. Probably need to set this up, but you get the idea. It all takes this research bench. Now I'm just backspace, so at least not backspace then. Make sure I didn't do anything, because he knows where my keybinds went. So now, try to show you what the research bench looks like real quick. It does require power, so it's kind of like the high-tech research bench, except it's not nearly as high-tech. Now, currently, RimVali benches will work a bit faster in higher temperatures and in lower temperatures. This is because you need to keep your RimVali in cold temperatures. If we look at their health, or if we look at their information tab here, you can see their maximum comfortable temperature is only 10 degrees Celsius. And the problem with this is, if it's 10 degrees Celsius and you have them in a normal environment early game, that's really not going to be fun for them to live in, and it's going to make them either upset or, like, you know, not happy, just in general, or they could even, higher temperatures, die. Change research architecture, okay? Now, Our next bench here is the RimVali Nano Forge. This bench here, as you can see, it only has 89 workstation here capacity, where you see the base value is 142%. The reason here is because I don't know how cold you'll keep your bases, but I recommend temperature about -9. Like, that's good enough where you probably won't freeze other pond stuff, I don't think. I haven't actually tested that, so don't trust me on that. But you also won't boil your volley. And also, as you can see, this is what you need to use to refine tungsten. So if I just go in here, if I just quickly pop this research, finish now, you'll need to take this tungsten. As you can see, it says sinter tungsten. This takes 10 raw tungsten. Yeah, I still haven't adjusted those yet. But anyways, so I haven't adjusted the minimum comfortable temperature yet. As you can see, this takes out 10 raw tungsten right now. It produces 8 normal tungsten. This is the description right now. It is a currently not very balanced material that's being worked on, because this has a lot of things going on right now. This is just to show that there's a process here. And you'll probably notice that there's this stuff. Ferrotungsten carbide is going to be the late game material. I just haven't gated my research yet. But if we pull up the different structures here, you'll see. So we have the ferrogel walls. I'm just going to put them all here on here again. We have tungsten walls. And we have ferrotungsten carbide. As you can see, these are very expensive to get. As you can see, just for these 6 walls, it costs 300 ferrotungsten carbide. That's going to add up very quickly. You need to keep that in mind. But as you can see, it's very powerful. This is about 2,550 hit points. But you just spent 300 ferrotungsten carbide. If you look at the recipe for that, just to make the products of 25 ferrotungsten carbide, yeah, it may need to be adjusted. Yeah, a lot of things are going to need to be adjusted. That's why we are early in development right now. We're not in the playable stage, I will say that. It's the testable stage, but not the playable stage. Definitely not playable stage. Yeah. As you can see, it takes quite a bit. 10 ferrogel, 10x tungsten, 5x plasteel, and 10 times carbon. I actually can't choose how much it's done. That's actually being done by RimVali itself. If we we can change this now, since obviously we figured out how to make walls that are our own. But if we look at gold, it's going to be the same amount. And if we look at silver, it's going to be the same amount too. It's going to always be 50. As you can see, so I'm not actually confirming that. That's just RimVali being RimVali. So now, let's see, what else can I totally tell you about? Well, the RimVali Nano is our third work table. Here you can probably guess we make these guys: ferroweave, nano fiber, and refined carbon. Let me just go ahead and spawn in the research because really we don't need to wait that long. Ferroweave. Now, if you look here, yeah, I intentionally did that because otherwise it was just a bit, yeah, it was kind of only 5, let me see, default is only 5 to build a wall, which is kind of absurd when you think about it, because like, as you see, that's 60, but it's only 5 per wall. And then, let's see what else is there. So you may have noticed, if you look at these 2 males, these guys have different colors, I think. Right now they don't actually for once. let me do that real quick then, because I want to show something really cool that I actually really like that the other RimVali mods did not do. Let me see, it's colorless. Currently I need to change some bomb kind names because those are from when I was the only person working on the mod. Why are you all purple? Stop being purple. Okay, there you go. As you can see, we have 3 colors on these RimVali. Jim. So as you can see, we have 3 colors on these guys. They're all going to be a generally pale color. Yeah, it's not going to make it expensive. Maybe. Yeah, that makes sense too. As you can see, there's a couple of colors now. The current functional colors are more always going to be on the way. The current functional colors are purple, red, blue, green, and I think yellow. There's a sign-in one that's also becoming. There's a couple other colors that'll probably do too. I mean, it's not too hard to make these color variants, luckily. I mean, it's all the same, just 3 colors down. That opens up the door to some other really cool things that we will discuss in the future, probably in another stream, because they are not really ready yet. Okay, so now what do I want to talk about? Because there's more. Let's see here. I should probably go back and show. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, let's show the new weather event. Weather, because there is a new weather event. It's called Snowstorm. Snowstorm is essentially a thunderstorm, but snowy. We just undraft everyone so you can just sort of walk around and whatnot. As you can see, it's thunderstorming and it is snowing. And my game does not like that. As you can also see, RimVali get a mood boost for being in the snow. They have a little mood boost called, it's just like on Avalon. It's just, let's say, it's this little kind of thing. Now, humans do not do this, but this also brings up the thing. RimVali have a wide variety of custom thoughts. Like, they are not just their like, they have a lot of custom thoughts. They don't care so much when they don't care so much when they eat humans or something like, it was a human, but it's not an RimVali. But if they get eaten in RimVali, they will be upset. This also brings up something else I should probably show here. Just construct a quick little tent. RimVali get a mood boost for sleeping in grass, but they get a mood debuff for sleeping alone. This is an interesting feature, obviously, because if you have a bunch of RimVali and humans, the humans always want to sleep alone, but the RimVali will want to sleep together, and they want to be friendly and whatnot. RimVali are very social, and they don't understand that the humans don't like to do that, like be in the same room. So let me just quickly make a little bedroom here, and I'm just going to go floors. You know what? Let's just make it all orange, because, yeah, why not? As you can see now, they're all going to start doing here. As you can see, P here has just gone to sleep, and now if we look around, if we wait a minute, just wait, let's see. No, you're not going to do it? Yeah, really aren't bothered by sharing, but that makes sense, I suppose. But it's going to be eventually, if they ever do it. As you can see here, disturb sleep. We should probably disable the disturb sleep thought, because otherwise it makes no sense. Because disturb sleep is willingly a stackable event. And if we look here, okay, for a reason you're not getting it, but let's just see. Let's see if you guys get it. If anyone ever goes to sleep, that is. If they go to sleep, that'd be really nice. Can you guys please go to sleep? Thanks. Let's see, where is it? Rest. They've changed everything, and it's like, I can't find anything. Wait, I'm in the wrong tab, aren't I? Yeah. Okay, so we just make a ton of people really, 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 really tired. There we go. As you can see, Hala should now get a mood boost for sleeping in barracks. Unless humanoid alien races trainer broke again, and yeah. It's not impossible. It's done that before. Let's just see here again, because you're being... Imagine that's a different shape for... Oh, that'd be wacky. Okay, did that thing come up again? They accidentally trigger it. I accidentally triggered it again, and that's really annoying to me. Go away. I messed up all my keybinds. As you can see here, there's a mood boost now. How do I keep pressing the key? Like, it's not even anywhere near the keys I'm pressing, but I somehow press it. I'm looking at that thing again. As you can see though, now this guy is a mood boost for sharing room. Now let's go back to Key. Key, I'm gonna make you very, very tired, so please be tired. Yeah, you know, okay, it's right there. You're going to be very, very tired now, so please. Okay, you can't get any more tired than that, okay. Resting, as you can see now. If you just wait, unless this is outside or something, or it's being classed as, like, I don't know. Who knows what. Just wait a moment and see, because who knows. As you can see now, there's mid-book. Sleep alone. Currently, normal beds actually do function. Well, I mean, yeah, they do. They look a bit weird in sleep when they do go to sleep right now, yes. I might look into this at some point, but until then, it is going to be... I will look into this at some point, but until then, I'm going to kind of class it as a known bug, not really fixable kind of thing. And yeah. So the problem with that is that the way we have to make these different color variants, like you see here, we have blue stripes, red stripes, purple stripes, yellow, and whatnot. That's all based on a system that doesn't hide when it's in bed, basically. And I mean, there are some things that can be changed about this, but for the most part, it's very it was very already kind of annoying to get this set up, just because offsets that are decimals are not really fun to work with in general. So now, I should probably look at, let's see here. What else should I probably explain? Currently, really, okay, so you can also use the volume material to just draw any bench. Doesn't matter what mod it's from, it's all going to work. As you can see, I can do this. Personally, I really like the look of the Aero Tungsten Carbide stuff, because it's, you know, this nice clean white texture. So I made it look that color as a structural wall. I should probably actually look at the items themselves, and I should show that they have a sort of semi-dynamic texture, sort of. If you have more, they will have a, let me see here, okay, Aero Tungsten Carbide, there we are. As you can see, now if I just keep stacking this, as you can see, they'll build up slowly, like that. This applies to all the items like that. And also these textures here, they just have their own textures, and the same goes to the current advanced parts. If I were to spawn one of those in advanced, let's see, advanced bionic leg. See, they have a white texture rather than the sort of cardboardy, like, basic texture. Looks like they were made in an actual thing, rather than packaged into a cardboard box. So now, I've already do have a couple more thoughts, like, for instance, someone is about to die right now, but I'm going to give them a relationship first. Actually, I'm just going to destroy a lot of them real quick. because you don't need this many running around, destroying. So don't need you, don't need you, don't need you. So you just get rid of a couple of them, because you really don't need all these running around. I mean, I like a value now, but we don't need so many value that it makes it too hard to show things. Where are you even? Okay, you're like in a weird halfway spot. Okay, this is perfect. Let's fix that. Now, let's add a relationship. Add and remove population. Add, let's add, say, spouse. To binary. And as you can see now, if you look in social, it's not called, you know, wife or husband or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's just called mate. And it's called that applies to both that applies to both and wife and husband. And then instead of daughter and son, we have kid and kid, and so on. Though also get a different mood debuff if a friend dies. Rather than implementing a fully working patch system like RimVali continued, what we decided to do was replace a couple of thoughts. Like if, let's see, what, are you guys like friends? Are you guys, like, have you guys as friends? As you can see, upon with good opinion, now if they die, we just kill. I'm going to resurrect them later, don't worry. If we do kill, let's see if we get the thought. Yeah, getting a little bit upset there. Until I add a pack member relationship. Well, yes and no, really. Okay, so you guys aren't friends enough to get, so never mind. It's a bit more difficult than it seems because the way RimVali does relationships is a bit weird. It's not just saying, boom, his relationship thing. There's like a whole bunch of other stuff going into it. And I don't really understand it myself either, admittedly. And then let's see here. So, what else should I tell you about? RimVali do get another bad topic, butcher on RimVali. Let's show that real quick. Let's spawn in both a human and an RimVali, and I'll show you some things. Let's see here. Colonists, we just want colonists. Draft, so you don't run away. Spawn pond, normal colonists, just because I need to kill them both to should have thought. And if we eat, and if we just kill, right there you go. Now we have them both be butchered, because this is what we do in RimVali. We just claim butcher whatever. And everyone knows the perfectly respectful place for butcher tables in your bedroom. Now, if we look here, butcher creature details, human likes, you know, alien corpses of Ali. Let's just do that 2 times, please. As you can see, they will receive a minor mood debuff. As you say butchered human like, but I butchered a sentient creature rather than the normal human. Oh, I butchered someone, we're all going to die now, kind of thing. And now if we butcher in a volley, this is where you can actually start to get upset. It says, I butchered in a volley, and it's minus 13 mood debuff for 6 days. I get really upset about butchering each other, basically. Currently, they don't have their own custom meat types. They, like, this is, I'm going to add the layer where they have their own meat. Because currently it doesn't make sense to give you human meat, really. And then, so let's see, they also get a debuff if they eat it. So if they say, well, I guess they get that right now because you know, it's human meat technically. And now, as you can see, they get really upset. They know you butchered their volley too. As you see, it's a minus 10 would debuff for 6 days as well. A value down as a textile material is actually already a thing, basically. If I go, it's already kind of included. This is not in here, but if I go to something like sandbags, RimVali leather sandbags. It just is under a different name. It's slightly kind of purplish, pinkish color. Did that thing come up again? Why am I even clicking to make that come up? I hate how the Steam thing keeps coming up. Why is it coming up? Like, I'm not doing anything to make it come up, it just appears. But I do want to talk to say about regarding the other RimVali mods. This mod is fully compatible with Jaffer's mod. Like, I don't mean just maybe like a little bit compatible. I mean like, there's a bunch of patches and things that are being played. If I switch to desktop mode, on OBS, I'd probably show you, but I mean, there's no real need for that right now. I'll show it later, I guess, or something. Battery's running low. Okay. So maybe to end this off kind of soon because this is a laptop and it does not have a decent battery life. I've shown most of the things that I really need anyways, I think, right now. But so yeah, RimVali have a lot of custom thoughts. They also don't get the following thoughts. Naked. They also do not get the thoughts of being naked or being in darkness. Feathers say shed. A normal weak material with a comfort value of beds. Also, there's an item you can get from traders. It's not really important, but it is kind of just a fun little item in here. The RimVali eggs, because, you know, it's hatch your own RimVali. And yes, it does hatch into your RimVali that joins your colony. But it takes like a really long time to hatch if I remember correctly. I might have sped it up for testing purposes. Yeah, so yeah. Basically, what we're looking at now is I think we're going to do a lot more cybernetics and things, because that's something we're lacking in right now, and that's where RimVali need to kind of start check out. Research tree needs work, but overall, the base is sort of here, as you can see. We have a direction, we know what we're doing. Also, like, what I've also been working on is conversion patches. If you either playing with the RimVali continued and you don't want to have a bunch of bugs, you can uninstall RimVali continued, you can install the conversion patch, and that'll help, you know, keep things running smoothly without too many issues. You can't uninstall them. Yeah, it takes a lot of time to get these things done. But luckily there's someone helping out. Does that thing keep coming up again? I'm getting really annoyed. I'm going to disable whatever is doing that. Mad Snow Hair, where is it even? I mean, you can clearly see it. Oh, it's like, is it in there? Is it in there with them? Which also is something I should bring up. The RimVali blood is actually flammable. I don't know why it is right now, but it is. If I were to set on fire, it is like a health of